You know, it's not always about the things you do, it's mostly about how you do them. Good morning, comrades, and it's definitely a good morning because the sun is shining, the birds are singing, it's pretty warm. I can take my jackets off. The cats are enjoying the weather as well. But no, those things are pretty amazing to start your morning after days of cold, wind, rain, and all those nasty things. I want to tell you something today. You know, it's not always about the things you do, it's mostly about how you do them and for who you do them. And let me illustrate. A friend of mine asked me to pick him up from the airport. And I don't want to sound important, but nowadays I'm pretty busy with vlogging, with preparing Apex, administration type of work, and everything around it as well. I'm, after all, one-man band. I don't have any assistant or whatever not, so usually I would say, I don't have time. But in this case, first of all, for who you're doing it, it's a good friend of mine, a VLAN driver of a M6 GT3, one of my favorite cars of the field, Matthias Hankola from Finland. And he said, you can take my 991 Gt3 Rs to pick me up. This is something I would not say no to. So the first thing to start a day with, we're gonna go to a company called Ring Tech, where the Gt3 Rs is currently stored, and pick it up. Okay, this looks like the place. I expected GT3 RS 991 to look slightly different than this. Ooh, wow, an Omega. Or should I better pronounce it as Omega? Nice ring tool, I guess. Okay, so fast forward to Atomic, picked up the car, couldn't film the actual storage because there was a lot of nice stuff inside. But, but, I'm a bit speechless. Driven the GT3 RS before, but it was a long time ago, and after driving, well, if we compare supercars, McLaren, turbocharged, still goes, well, close to 8,000 RPM, redline, but not naturally aspirated like this baby is, and that goes up to 8,500 RPM. And if you press this button, and if you decide to reach 8,500 RPM, then you can say goodbye to your eardrums, even with a stock exhaust. My god, if you want to describe eargasm, this is it. And I'm sorry again, I don't have any onboard camera, but fuck. This is, I told you already, good morning, comrades. Weather is very nice to make it a nice morning, but this car screaming is the most wonderful morning you can wish for at the Nürburgring. But yeah, let me do some stuff. Let's go upload some vlogs, then go to Apex, and then I'll tell you, well, something about the construction progress, and most importantly also something about this car as well. Quick fast forward. Oh, I wanted to open up traditionally wise the door, but it works quite differently in the GT3 RS. And we are about to get some lunch at Reti. For me it's breakfast. And look what's parked next to me. An R8 with Ingolstadt license plate. Means that's well, it's a test vehicle. You can also tell it by this number over here. I wonder what they're testing, but you can never tell at this point. Some people test cars, and I might test some food today. The lunch was good. No. We're back at Daniel's and Alice's place because the cat that you saw this morning in the intro got run over by a car. And they didn't stop when the neighbor asked them they just drove on. What the fuck? It's such a narrow street. Fuck this shit. Okay, enough about the sad things, let's talk about cars again. So, first of all, this Astra OPC of Alex that you've seen quite often on the lift, and now it's finally ready. I was about to leave with the Gt3 Rs to pick up Matthias, and then suddenly I heard, Misha! This car is finally ready. I'm like, whoa, yeah, because we initially thought it would be only ready by 2019, right?
Yeah, all right.
So, yeah, so what have you done to it, apart from the, well, the eye-catchy Cosmos wheels and the VMAX brakes? A small hint, we're probably gonna put the big brake kit on the Polo that we ordered, so it's gonna be pretty stupid, the slowest car, but we're gonna make even more slower by having a big brake. But yeah, I guess safety is everything. But I see a huge intercooler in the front as well. So what's up with that?
Yeah, it's a new intercooler because the stock intercooler is too small and on a bad position. So when you drive over 300-350 horsepower, then you need a bigger intercooler. Yeah, new intercooler, new brakes, new wheels. The wheels was very tricky to get fixed on the car.
Okay.
We need to put out the steering. Working on the steering angel so that the wheels are not grinding inside.
Okay. And new gearbox, diesel for more Newton meters
of torque.
Yeah. Cool, but overall a pretty nice. So how much did you say for 100 horsepower?
No, at the moment 310.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never know.
Okay.
Need a bigger turbo.
Yeah, that's how it all starts. You suddenly 300 is not enough, then 400 is not enough. But I guess 310 on the front wheels, right?
Yeah, 300 on the front and
so,
1,200 kilo. It's not that bad.
Yeah, I think it will be a nice thing. So we're gonna take it out for a lap, most certainly, at some point, right, on the ring. So there's going to be more about this car. I'm gonna say goodbye to you for today and see you. And now let's have a quick look at the Gt3 Rs, about the things that I wanted to tell you about this car. I'm pretty sure by now you already know a lot about this car, because obviously it's not a new car. There have been a lot of other YouTubers and reviews of this car. But a couple of things that I want still to tell you about this car. First of all, what surprises me, it doesn't have keyless entry or go, so you really need to get the key out of your pocket and then open up and then woohoo, and then you can get inside. Well, while we're still outside, let me talk you through some things. First of all, things that I noticed quite quickly about driving this car after driving 570. I criticize 570 as a lot for its downforce, or actually for its lack of downforce. Here on the other hand, we can see those famous Gt3 Rs. I forgot the term, to be honest, but this adds downforce because all the air which is gathered in the wheel arch or in the front fender is escaping the front fender, and the car can go lower instead of, well, getting lifted. And of course the huge, I cannot emphasize how big, probably the largest spoiler on a production car of the Gt3 Rs, and that thing works. And finally, well, the huge tires, 21-inch in the rear. Why would you need that? Well, because probably you need a 325 wide. It's shitload. It's great. And final thing I want to tell you while we are still outside is the boot space. Surprisingly big. Right now I have my backpack with my laptop, Daniel's pack, and a helmet. I'm pretty sure you can fit even more in it, which is a good thing. But now let's quickly go inside. Oh yeah, by the way, difference between the casual GT3 and GT3 RS, the badge of Porsche is a sticker on the RS. And finally, while we are still on this part, the hood, or the trunk in this case, is carbon fiber. And now let's get inside. The car is open, so I don't need to open it up again, and I'm referring to the keyless go thing. Speaking of keyless go, also no keyless start. I'm used to, well, even by driving the Toyota, not even the McLaren, you have keyless entry, you have keyless go, so you can just push the button and go. In this case, we really need to get the key, stick it on the left side and not the right side, because according to the myth, the positioning of the key on the Porsche is on the left, from the times of Le Mans, where you had a running start, you were standing next to the car, then you run to the car, you get in and you have to drive away. So they did it on the left, so you can have the key on the left, and then with your right hand you could, well, engage the gear and actually drive out with both hands doing something. And you also need not to forget to buckle up. And then, yeah, there were a lot of safety issues. I believe either Jackie X or Jackie Stewart, one of those two, were complaining about it, and one of them, he decided not to run to his car but walk very slowly, which was very dangerous, and there was a lot of fuss about it back in the days. But let's forget about that. Sure, you can probably find out more on Google about the key positioning in the Porsche, but it's on the left. And yeah, again, you need to turn it and then it will go on. Like I mentioned earlier, Gt3 Rs has those handles, well, the straps instead of the traditional handles, which is, yeah, interesting. To be honest, how much weight do you save on it? It's more of a gimmick, to be honest. I'm sure you save like, what, 10, 20, 30 grams, but it's, well, let's skip that. It's a fun thing to have, to talk to your friends, to show it to them. What I like, practicality, because, well, you've seen probably earlier I had my bottle of Arizona tea here. You can actually have also second bottle or cup holder for the passenger, which is a cool thing. I mean, it's a goddamn supercar, to be honest, because the car is really built purely for performance, to drive on the track, drive on the Nürburgring. It is hands down probably the best track car for money that you can buy. I know a lot of GT3 and Gt3 Rs owners that have those cars that lap them non-stop on the Nürburgring and have zero warranty issues. Well, okay, I'm probably lying. The first models of GT3s had a lot of engine failures, but it was all under warranty. So it was replaced and then you could go on again. There was no problem. Yeah, so it's definitely a track-built car, and it developed on the track. It's born on the Nürburgring, obviously, so it's a definitely cool car, and it's quite comfortable. I mean, if you don't put the suspension in the track mode or the suspension mode, then it is pretty much doable. Once you touch this button, I already told you the exhaust is crazy, and I seen promo video of a Krapovic exhaust on this, and that makes it sound even more louder, like Formula 1, and when you reach close to 9,000 RPM, then it becomes really crazy. So this is something I would really like to hear in my life one day, a Krapovic Gt3 Rs. What else? Yeah, carbon fiber seats, track back, and so also the cage, roll bar. There is something left from what's supposed to be the back seat on the casual 911, but of course you cannot take anyone on the back seat. But you can, but there is actually, if you don't have the cage, but I'm not sure why you would want not to have the cage, or should I say better, roll bar. There is actually pretty much space in the back, so if you don't have it, you could practically go on a holiday with this car and have a lot of fun. Other than that, a lot of multimedia things. I don't have time to go through it. Yes. Do not use it when you drive. And this is really stupid, to be honest. Pit speed. That means you have a speed limiter of 60 kilometers an hour in the pit lane when you do racing. And again, just like this, in my personal opinion, is pretty much a gimmick. I believe they don't have it in the new GT3, but then again, GT3 is not Gt3 Rs, so maybe in the 991 Mark II Gt3 Rs they're gonna bring it back. But yeah, I'm not a fan of this button. It's fun, but I don't see the real use, because if you want to really race, you buy a Porsche Gt3 Cup, which is even cheaper than this car. Well, on the long run it is not, but you get my point. So you're not gonna race with this car. A lot of track days, yes, but pit speed. Nah. And finally, not much to say, to be honest. Finally, about this car, I like it. Of course, if you really want to have it as a daily driver, it's a lot better and more reasonable to have a Turbo S, which is a lot more comfortable and more refined. It's not screaming, so your eardrums will survive longer. But overall, I do enjoy this car for what I have driven with it, a couple of hours. Pretty cool. So now let's make a quick stop at Apex, because I hope that they are putting the concrete in the barn, and then head off to the airport to pick up our friend Matthias. Now, let's pretend it's a Le Mans start, but unfortunately I'm filming with one hand, so I cannot put the gear in with my right hand, but fire it up. Yay. What? Oh yeah, the tire pressure. You would argue that the tire pressures are low. Let me turn off the engine so you can hear me. That the tire pressures are low because the car is driven on the track. But in fact, Matthias told me he never took this car out on the track. And why should he? Because he's driving M6 GT3. But he's driving with the lower tire pressures because he still warms them up on the street. And by having the lower tire pressure, the tires survive a bit longer, which is a nice tip or nice thing, nice comment. But now let's really get going. And welcome at Apex. I forgot my keys today, and the construction workers are out for lunch, so there's nobody to open the door for me. But we can have a quick look on the barn. So you can see that the sewage preparation is getting done here, because the toilets are going to be over there, and also here, well, the preparations to fill it up with concrete is getting done as well. Yeah, this is just like a small progress update for today, I guess. But before we go, there are still a couple of things I want to say that I forgot to mention the previous shot before I got to Apex. First of all, it comes with a fire extinguisher. And it got me thinking, like, who's gonna use this thing if the car is gonna be burning? And even a more important argument, this car's base price is 180,000 euro ex tax, I believe. So, I mean, if you would have added a fire suppression system, like a real fire suppression system, you know, from race car, and increased the base price, or have it as an option of like 3,000 euro extra, that would have been a nice addition, and the average owner wouldn't mind to buy it. I mean, you still have this pit speed button, so to have it like a real proper race car, a real fire suppression system would have been, well, a nice extra. Maybe for the next Gt3 Rs. Another thing, this particular car comes with rubber floor mats. And to be honest, I kinda like it. I mean, of course, honestly, it looks cheap, it is cheap. But it's practical as fuck, because, of course, right now, for example, I'm at Apex Construction Works. I have right now, not too dirty shoes, but like 2 vlogs ago, you've seen when it was raining, it was really dirty. And imagine if I would be driving this car, then I would have a problem, because I couldn't permit myself to get inside this car with dirty shoes. But now it's okay. Now, find the most important thing, which was introduced in the GT3, not the GT3 RS. This all-wheel steering, the full-wheel steering, that the rear wheels are also steering. So I believe below 30 kilometers an hour, they steer on the opposite side, and above, they steer in the same side as the front wheels. And I must say, it feels goddamn strange. It's practical as hell, because the turning circle is really small. I mean, it's even smaller than the Toyota GT6 that I have. It was really surprising how it could fit in a parking spot. Also, on the road, it really requires you to get used to that, because, well, you steer and suddenly it steers a lot more than you expect it to, which is a good thing. But if you just jump in this car and think, oh, go on track time, and go floor it, and you'll be surprised that it steers actually a lot more than you want it to. But it does, well, it's mandatory to mention that. But now, let's really get going. What's up, truck? What are you gonna do? Arrived at the airport, and last year I made a life hack pro tip vlog about how you should pick up people at the airport, and I told you that you should wait at gas stations, because this is like a place where you can wait for free. This is basically what I'm doing right now as well, so just a reminder. One thing, after driving for 1.5 hours with this car, even without the exhaust open, I must say it's pretty loud. So this car is not really the best solution as a daily car, but then again, if you have the money to buy this car, you most certainly have something as a daily. But if you want to have a sports car, I presume if you're gonna go for a Porsche, then again a turbo or a Turbo S would be a much more sophisticated choice for everyday use. And well, if I talk about McLaren, yeah, the 570S was actually not that loud, but then again it's turbocharged like the Turbo S as well. But I mean, every Porsche apart from the GT3 and Gt3 Rs nowadays is turbocharged. But yeah, waiting for a message of Matthias. He already landed, so I'll be picking up soon in a bit. Maybe get some snacks or something at gas station.
Hey.
Hello, sir.
Hey.
Welcome to unofficial ring taxi.
Apex ring taxi.
Apex ring taxi. Where can I take you? To the Nürburg?
Yes. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm very happy that you're here with me now, because now you can film me doing naughty stuff with your car. I'm happy.
As well.
Good. And in case you're wondering if the shot is staged because I'm suddenly outside the car, no, it's not. We actually picked up the GT86 because obviously I used that to pick up the Porsche, and now I got that back, and now we have the Porsche. Okay, that's it for today. We have arrived at 27 to get some dinner. It was a, yeah, I would say amazing day with this car, but you know, we had a very shitty situation that I try not to think about. But yeah, tomorrow another amazing day. There'll be VLN practice, so I wish this guy lots of luck, and my intention was to be there as well, but unfortunately I have to pick up the Cupra and the LT Spider of Robert as well. So some supercar and sports car content tomorrow, and I might stop by still at VLN practice, and otherwise we'll be definitely there on Saturday. Yes. So for now, I hope you enjoyed. See you guys tomorrow. Bye bye. He's hungry. Me too. So, food shot. 2 amazing race season.
Amazing races.